All praise due to Allah, His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, his companions, and his followers until the day of judgment. We're still commenting on Hadith al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يسلم الصغير على الكبير والمار على القاعد والقليل على الكثير في رواية والراكب على الماشي. That the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, the young should greet the old, the passer-by should greet the one who's sitting, and the small group of people should greet the large one. In another narration, and the one who's riding should greet the one who is walking. And we mentioned so many of the rules in relation to this hadith. And one of the things that I think the last point that we mentioned is, if you enter a gathering of people, there is like a bunch of people, do you shake hands with every one of them? And we mentioned that there is two opinions among scholars. Some said no. And there is no proof that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ever, or his companion, used to shake hands with everyone in the gathering. They will say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Like this brother, for example, will shake hands with everybody. Is that from the Sunnah? We don't know that the Prophet used to do that. The hadith talk about when two people meet each other, they shake hands with each other. But there is nothing to prevent also this from happening, as Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah said, that there is a general rules where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or general virtue, where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, anytime you shake your hand, you shake your Muslim brother's hand, your sins fall from your record, the same way the dry leaves fall from the tree. We said also that there is difference between shaking hands and repeating the salam. So if I shake hands, let's say the gathering has 10 people, and I'm going to shake everyone's hand, all the scholars said, you don't say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum. You say it one time, but you can shake the hands of each and every one. As tikrar salam, they said of asl. Because you give salam when you come, when you approach, but to repeat the salam is not correct. Also we said that the ulama rahimahullah, like Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Abd al-Salam, and many others, said, أن السلام والمصافحة بعد الصلاة من بدع الصلاة. That the ulama said that shaking hands with people after salah as part of the ritual or part of the practice after finishing the salah, the salat al-dhuhr, al-asr, salat al-mafruḍah, people shake hands with each other. The ulama rahimahullah said that's bid'ah. It's an innovation in religion. لم يفعلها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا أصحابه. The Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم never did that, nor even of his companions, رضي الله عنهم وأرضاهم. Unless two people didn't see each other for a long time. Somebody was traveling, somebody you haven't seen for a while, or there's in a special occasion, that's why you say, oh, I haven't seen you for a while. Shaykh Walid, you've been traveling, or where you been? Muhammad, mashallah, just came, and so forth. Shaykh Baz rahimahullah was asked if somebody extend his hand to shake your hand in some khutbah al-Jum'ah. You're all in Jum'ah, listening to the khutbah, and somebody reach out to you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. What should you do? Shaykh Baz rahimahullah said, you shake his hand, you can give him your hand, but you're not allowed to talk to him. You just remain silent. Also, we talked a lot about the issue of entering the house when there's nobody in the house. And we explained that why I don't believe it is from the Sunnah of the Prophet to say Assalamu alaikum if the house is empty, because the house, unless you meant by Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah as-salihin, you mean the dua, a supplication that Allah protect us from the evilness of any evil in this house or this place. But as-salam is a greeting between two. We also talked about the issue of hugging and kissing, and we talked about this, that this is part of the culture. But we make sure that you respect that culture, because in certain culture, kissing is not something acceptable. And it can be problematic, especially with the different culture. Okay? Like, I'll give you an example of a real case where a person is an older saw a child in a restaurant, okay? And as part of where he came from, kissing the children and hugging them is something wrong, even if it's strange. So actually this man was in a big trouble with the family of the boy, because seldom seen an adult kissing their kid. That's just in American culture, not something acceptable. And I'm aware of a couple of cases, at least, in the national scene, and one of them actually in trial, claiming that he used to kiss and hug as part of a culture, while somebody accused him of sexual harassment. So you'll see that you have to respect that culture. Then we talked about the issue of if someone came into the gathering, am I allowed to stand up to give that person salam? We said before, as long as as long as the person who coming in don't want people to stand up for him out of, like the kings and the dictators and honoring him, and that's not allowed in Islam. And ulama, many of them said what is forbidden, and يجلس الرجل ويقف الناس حوله. Yani when you enter, you sit, but people don't sit, people stand up and keep standing while you're sitting. كثير من أهل العلم, many of the ulama said that the hadith that forbade standing for the person who entered, when somebody entered and sit and people standing around him like the king or president, you cannot sit just standing next to him, and that's in Islam not correct. Somebody, let's say, has a business or a manager wants every employee to stand up while he's sitting talking to them. That's a form of arrogance. And there is plenty of stories from the Salaf, rahimahullah ta'ala. They used to be very careful about this issue.
But if people,
But
if people enter the gathering to greet that person and other people stand up, is that fine?
So the ulama, rahimahullah, said there's three situations. You sit and people stand for you. That's haram. Okay. And basically, you stand up because the person coming in or coming out. Shaykh al-Islam, like judge, when you come to the court, everybody stand up, don't you sit down. That's right. Some teachers, I remember in the old days, they teach in school, when the teacher comes, everybody stand up for the teacher. Then you sit down. Now, you're lucky if they put their feet down from the desk. Okay? ايش يقول شوقي؟ الأمير يقول قم للمعلم وفه التبجيل كاد المعلم أن يكون رسولا. Stand up for the teacher, out of respect. So, let's say if a person, enter like a respected person, so you stand up for that respected figure. قال شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله فأقل أحوال هذه الكراهة, it's dislike. It's not haram, it's dislike. A president comes, President of the United States, everybody stand up. Or for example, let's say somebody very honorable, respectful came and you stand up for your older brother. Okay, your father came and you stand up for him. Out of honoring them. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said that's dislike. It's not haram. لأن الصحابة رضي الله عنهم كانوا لا يقفون للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما يعلمونه أنه يكره ذلك. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم companion did not used to stand up for the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم when he entered. And nothing can be better than Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. No king, no person, no father, no older, nothing. Okay, it can be better than Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they said he didn't do that because he didn't like that. He disliked that. It's not because haram, because they know that he doesn't like that. He disliked it. And the third situation, that you stand up for the person who entering to welcome the person, shake his hands. Somebody came to give me salam. I'll stand up and give him salam. Okay? or to help him, or to offer him my place. This is permissible. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when his daughter Fatima used to enter, كان يقوم يسلم لها ويجلس مكانه. He would stand up, shake her hand, and welcome her to sit in his place. And she will do the same for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also to help, like when Sa'd ibn Ali came and he was bleeding, he قال قوموا إلى سيدكم. ما قال قوموا لسيدكم, قوموا إليه. Go help the leader of Al-Ansar when he came, and he was Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, when he was injured. Also, there is several incidents like this. So that type of standing, it is permissible. Faraj ibn Fudala al-Tannuhi al-Himsi, Al-Mansur came one day, okay, to his palace. Al-Mansur has a palace, it's called Qasr al-Dhahab, a palace of gold. There's a lot of gold in this palace. So if you hear about kings today and presidents and Manhattan apartment has gold toilets and faucets and stuff like that, you know, it's not something new. So Al-Mansur, and then Mansur lived at what? 170 Hijri. What year is Hijri this year?
1441.
1441. 1441. We talk about a time of 174. See how far this is in history. Okay, more than 1300 years ago. So Mansur had this palace, it's called the Palace of Gold. When he entered the court of his palace, قام الناس إلا فضالة. Everybody stood up except Fudala. He became so angry at him. And he said, why didn't you stand up when I came in? قال خفت أن يسألني الله عن ذلك ويسألك لما رضيت بذلك وقد كره رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم القيام له قيام الناس له فبكى المنصور وقربه وقضى حاجته. He said, I didn't do that because I was thinking about the day of judgment. If Allah asked you and asked me, why did we do that? Why did you want people to stand up for you? And Rasulullah, which is your grandfather, did not like people to stand up for him. Okay? So he was in tears, and he brought him near to him to sit next to him, and he gave him whatever request he had from him, rahimahullah ta'ala. I wish that this kind of stories and this kind of etiquette will be taught to the grandson of Rasulullah today, who are kings of Morocco and Jordan, and this kind of attitude of humility, and and other than them as well, other kings and sultan around the world. But in Morocco specifically, they have a habit for the king. It's just unbelievable that they made complete ruku' for the king when he comes, sujood as well. They go down on the ground in a prostration format for the king, which is things that's not, from the practice of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الذي كان يكره أن توطأ عقباه. He did not like when he walks sallallahu alaihi wasallam that somebody will walk behind him. People either walk on the sides or in front of him, but behind him, no. I'm no king. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
شيخ ما نصح المنصور على الذهب اللي في الأزهر؟ ما نصحه هذاك العالم إنه ذهب في الأزهر يعني حرام؟
I don't know. Yeah, he advises him or not. I don't know.
When I invite
Sure he
him.
did. Now the next hadith. وعن علي رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يجزئ عن الجماعة إذا مروا أن يسلم أحدهم ويجزئ عن الجماعة أن يرد أحدهم. رواه أحمد والبيهقي. علي بن أبي طالب, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, when a group of people pass by, it is sufficient if one of them extends the greetings on their behalf. And it's sufficient if one returns the greeting on behalf of the group. So you don't need to have everybody say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. And you don't have to have everybody say assalamu alaikum. So if we enter as a group and one of us says assalamu alaikum, it's enough. And if we enter two people and one of them said wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, is what? Enough and sufficient as well. This hadith al-Mu'allif rahimahullah said it's reported by Ahmad al-Bayhaqi. Shaykh al-Baz rahimahullah said that I looked in Musnad Imam Ahmad rahimahullah and I couldn't find it in Musnad Imam Ahmad. Okay? He said also al-Bayhaqi reported it, and it isn't al-Bayhaqi. But al-Hadith also in Sunan Abi Dawud, which is more appropriate to refer to over al-Bayhaqi. That's right, this is the Sunnah. But in this hadith, there is a man by the name of Sa'id ibn Khalid al-Khuzai. And this man is a weak narrator, as Imam Bukhari, Daraqutni, Abu Zur'at al-Razi said. But the hadith itself, the meaning is correct. The meaning is agreed upon. But as a statement from the Prophet ﷺ, no. Even some ulama, like Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, in his book Irwa al-Ghalil, tried very hard to say that this hadith is hasan, acceptable, because of other narrations to back it up. But I'll tell you the truth, that all these narrations or the other narration that the Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah mentioned is not enough, because the whole entire hadith goes around يدور على رجل اسمه سعيد ibn Khalid, and Sa'id ibn Khalid al-Khuzai, as you heard me saying, is a weak narrator. Not only that, but also that Abdullah ibn al-Fadl did not hear from Ubaydullah ibn Abi Rafi', and that means there is a qita' fil hadith, there is also a missing link, because these two did not meet each other, did not hear from each other. That's why I don't believe that, even with the narration that Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah brought to back this narration up, is not an authentic narration from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but the meaning is agreed upon. Yes?
Shaykh, other narrations also have Sa'id ibn Khalid.
Yeah, all of them. كل الروايات تدور على هذا الرجل.
I think it's only not practical. Because imagine a group of people coming in, so they have to agree who starts the salam.
لا أي واحد لو واحد منهم قال let's say إحنا جايين جماعة, we are like two of us or three of us. We came to a gathering, عزاء, whatever gathering, and one of us said السلام عليكم. خلاص, the rest don't need to say السلام عليكم. قول واحد عند الفقهاء. So the fuqaha, all of them agree on the meaning. If we coming as three of us, and one of us said Assalamu alaikum, I don't need to say it. It became sufficient. And if one of the gathering said Wa alaikum assalam, there is no need for the rest to say Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Al-jama'ah, 2 and up. Some of the fuqaha, مثل الأحناف, they say 3 and up. But the correct opinion is 2 and up. That's why if 2 pray together, we call it jama'ah. So as long as there is jama'ah too, that's why we say Salatul Jumu'ah, the minimum is 2, because that's what Salatul Jama'ah goes with. Somebody giving the khutbah, somebody giving the adhan. I'm listening. Okay. طيب. الحديث هذا فيه فوائد وأحكام كثيرة also. Number 1, it shows you that if one person gives salam, it's sufficient. One person reply, it will be sufficient for the rest. But what if everyone will say wa alaikum assalam? Everyone will say assalamu alaikum. Khair wa barakah. Because he said you take 30 hasana, 20 hasana and so on. But it is sufficient. Okay. ابن عبد البر رحمه الله ذكر أن أهل العراق جعلوه فرضا متعينا على كل واحد من الجماعة المسلم عليه. Ibn Abd al-Barr rahimahullah said that some of the scholars in Iraq used to say, if I say, let's say there's 10 people here, I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. تذكرون, if you remember, we said, As-salam sunnah wa raddu wajib. As-salam, initiating in sunnah and replying is what? Must. So those scholars said, if I say Assalamu alaikum to 10 people, that means replying to it is wajib upon each and every one of them. And also, they said that this is also the opinion of Abu Yusuf, which is the student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala. One of the evidence that is kind of strange, the use of Hadith in Bukhari, that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Adam came to the gather of angels. And Adam said, Assalamu alaikum. فردت الملائكة وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال الله هذه تحيتك وتحية أولادك من بعدك. The hadith, we studied this before, or we mentioned it before, that Adam gives salam to the angels and the angels reply. So those scholars said, since the angels, all of them reply, all of the groups should reply. لكن لا يخفى أن هذا في بعد. It's obvious. This is not a proof. Can anybody tell me why it's not a proof? It's very weird. It's very weird. It's not a good word. It's very strange to use this as an evidence. Anybody can tell me why? Angel committed to do so. If Allah told them that, we should do that as well. Yeah, we cannot make qiyas on what the angels do, and we said we do the same. الأحكام الشرعية المنطبقة على الملائكة لا تنطبق عليه. The rules that apply to angels do not apply to us. Number one. Number two, you might say it's not the angels, the Adam. In the qaida, this is a rule. Remember this. شرع من قبلنا ليس شرعا لنا. Any sharia belong to a prophet or messenger or nations before us do not apply to us. This rule, if there is certain legislation has to do with Musa, Isa, Dawood, Sulaiman, Yusuf, anyone before Muhammad sallallahu, we cannot say, oh, because Yusuf did this, I'm allowed to do that. Because Musa did this, I'm allowed to do that. No, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا شِرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. For each and every one, we have made their own sharia, their own set of rules. So you cannot apply their rules to our rules. So the rules of Adam alayhi salam and what Allah legislated for Adam cannot apply to us. Like the marriage of Adam. It doesn't apply to us. The marriage of the children of Adam does not apply to Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Anyway, so that's why we said it's wrong. Also more than that, who said that in Malaika when they said wa alaykum as-salam, they said it because they believe it's wajib. يعني حتى أبعد من هذا كله نقول هذا لا يدل حتى على الوجود. طيب. Question. If the Imam comes and said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah before khutbah al-Jumu'ah, do I have to have all the masjid say wa alaykum as-salam? One of them. Because if none of them answer, they are all responsible. One of them at least to say wa alaykum as-salam. Sometimes you see in certain هذا مشهور جدا هنا في الغرب رأيت ما رأيته غيره في هذه البلاد. I didn't see it in any other country other than the Western Muslim communities that they use Assalamu alaikum to get sometimes somebody says Assalamu alaikum, then two say wa alaikum assalam. They say Assalamu alaikum. He wants everybody in the gathering to say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's not right. خلاص, if one person said wa alaykum as-salam, it's sufficient. You want to get everybody's attention, say please be quiet. Don't say wa assalamu alaykum to get to cut the salam. Salam ibadah, salam an act of worship. We have to respect that. Salam ibadah, wal-ibadat muqayyad, muhtarama. Ibadat, it has to be respected the way it was legislated. Also, this hadith applying to leaving the gathering as well as approaching. So if somebody said salam alaikum before he leaves, one person said wa alaikum salam will be sufficient as well. Yes. Yeah, we talked about this before. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say salam alaikum when he entered the masjid. Yes. And you give salam to people when you enter the masjid. But you give salam to people after you pray Tahiyat al-Masjid. We talked about this before. After you say pray Tahiyat al-Masjid, assalamu alaikum. قالوا لأن تحية الله أولى من تحية العباد. Greeting the masjid and the right of Allah can take precedence over the greeting of people. And if you see someone particular praying, you only give him salam if you know how he will reply. So if you think that he is knowledgeable enough to understand, because he replied by saying like this, without talking. Next hadith. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعنه